Hello and welcome back. We have our December stamp of the month again, and I'm going to use one of these sentiments and the little silhouette of the two reindeer there on the bottom. So I have a sheet of white daisy, and I'm using a retired stamp set here, but basically we just need some pine trees. So check your crafty stash and see if you have any pines. A single pine or a trio or a pair of pines would work fine. And we're basically just going to do some first and second generation stamping to get some varied colors in our ink. So I have the olive ink pad here, and I'm going to stamp directly, and then I will stamp again in second generation for a lighter color, and then we'll re-ink our stamp one more time and then stamp it again in the dark color here. This just creates a lot of depth and interest in your stamping and you get more out of your ink colors. It's like having two but really only one ink pad. So now we're ready for our little reindeer silhouette, and I mentioned in the previous video that this is a promotional stamp for the month of December, so it won't be available until December 1st, so mark your calendars to be ready for that. You can get this stamp for only $5 with any $50 purchase. So what I'm doing is just putting these guys right in the foreground, and we're going to leave the bottom of the card white like they're standing in snow. So I've used my black pigment ink, and then I am just going to quickly dry that because the pigment ink is a little bit wetter than our regular alcohol-based inks. So I'm going back to this stamp set where I got the trees from, and they have a little square of snowfall. So if you don't have snowfall, you can also do this with our embossing pens and just create little dots of snow. So I'm going to quickly go over this with my anti-static pouch, and then I'm using my Versamark ink, and I'm just going to put some snowfall on this card. And I'm using white embossing powder, so it will just be a very soft, subtle look against the white cardstock, but it does add a really nice finishing touch. So we're just putting this kind of randomly. It's a bit difficult to see. Hopefully we've got it all covered. We'll do a little bit in front of the trees there on both sides. We don't want to get it on our reindeer per se, so I'm just kind of going around them, and then I'm going to use my white embossing powder and just give this a little dusting here. We'll knock off the excess and then set this with our heat gun. So just make sure you don't have any embossing powder where you don't want it, and then we can just kind of set this here. So it just adds, you can see it there, it adds just a nice little touch to the card and just kind of ups the wow factor, I always like to say. So we just want to make sure we got everything good and melted. So I really like this card. It's just such a peaceful little scene, you know, with the snowfall and then the deer out in the woods. I just really like the way this is coming together. So there you have it. We have our little embossed snow. So now we can go ahead and finish this card. I'm going to use my clear shimmer brush just to add a little sparkle to our reindeer. You could also use the black shimmer brush as well, but I just have the clear handy here, so I'm just going to very carefully go over these guys and just add a little bit of shine to them. I love these shimmer pens. They have several different colors, and they're just such a quick way to add a little just kind of a little sparkle to whatever you're working on. They work really nice. So I'm going to do some snowflake cards coming up too, and they look gorgeous on the snowflakes. So I'll hold that up in the light and you can just kind of see the shimmery finish there. And now we're ready to stamp our sentiment. So I have a strip of the white daisy and a strip of the candy apple red, and then that was a piece of our New England ivy. So we're going to use the Merry Christmas sentiment again, and then I will stamp this in my cranberry ink. And again, cranberry is a retired color, but we have candy apple red now that is gorgeous. So I'm just going to stamp the Merry Christmas sentiment. Make sure I got a little extra on my block there, so I'm just wiping that off. Okay, looks like we have good coverage, so I'll just stamp that directly onto our white daisy strip. And then I will dovetail the end of this with my micro tip scissors, just checking the length there against my card. And then I'm going to mat this on the strip of the candy apple red cardstock just so it stands out against the white background and adds a little pop of red as well. So we will go ahead and cut a matching dovetail in the red. So we have a little banner now, and then we can adhere our card to the New England Ivy card base. So I cut the white piece to 3 3/4 by 5, and then my New England Ivy is 5 1/4 by 4. And then when we put it on our A2 card base, we'll have a white border around the New England Ivy piece as well. So I'm going to pop my sentiment up on some foam tape. So we'll just cut 3 little pieces there. We don't want it to be sagging in the middle, so we just make sure we have enough there. And I didn't quite stamp my reindeer high enough on this. I don't want to cover their feet, but I would have liked a little bit more white on the bottom. But that's okay. Nobody knows what it was supposed to look like, so it looks just fine. Okay, so we have a nice clean white border around our card. And here is the finished product. And like I said, isn't that just a really peaceful, quiet, snowy Christmas scene? I just love the way they came together. See, here's my first card. You can see I put them up a bit higher and I have a little more white below my sentiment. And I just think that looks a little more visually appealing. So something to be mindful of if you're going to create this on your own. So thank you so much for watching. This was day 2 of our 12 days of Christmas cards, and I will be posting again on Fridays, so be sure to subscribe and tag that bell icon so YouTube notifies you every time I upload a new video. So here's another video you might like, and for more information you can visit my blog at craftyconceptswitherin.com. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.